let's talk about conservative voices for a moment, because conservative and libertarian speakers have been making headway in the last couple of years. There are some big names rising to the top, and they have serious follower bases. Cancelling them from media channels is no longer enough to silence them, because we, of course, have Elon Musk's Twitter offering them safe harbour. Now, we've got friends of this show like Lawrence Fox, Jordan Peterson, Mark Steyn, Calvin Robinson, Neil Oliver, and then the international groups like the Daily Wire team. This handful of voices has turned into what is effectively a small crowd, and the side it's growing. So conservative politics is suddenly becoming kind of cool, and you can see that with Ben Shapiro's rap ending up as the top trending song last week, which is crazy, but there you go. But these figures have to compete for airspace, not just against the left, but against each other. Now, Norman, do the new leaders of the conservative movement have a responsibility to keep the fractured and sometimes angry people focused on the real threat, which is this socialist, collectivist, woke takeover?
I think there's a problem there, because whereas on the left, all of the key sort of figures, all of the high profile figures all do tend to basically read from the same script. We're not getting that within the conservative movement. I mean, there's a lot of egos. We know that there's certainly a lot of egos involved here. And there are quite, significant differences of opinion. I mean, we've got this massive, fracture at the moment that, with the whole Israel-Gaza conflict. It's caused an enormous fracture within the freedom movement. And even people who, I always had a personal concern about this within the sort of the conservative movement, those big figures, because I as a Jew's family, come from and live in Israel. It was clear that there were many people, including some of the big names, maybe not the ones you mentioned, but certainly plenty who would have been considered as major conservative voices within the movement, who turned out to be, it turned out that they were really believing conspiracy theories that were anti-Semitic, right? Because they were assuming things like Zionists were responsible for most of the bad things that happened in the world in the last 100 years, and this seemed to come to a fore as a result of the Israel-Gaza conflict. I mean, I was, it meant I kind of got the triple whammy here, because I've been called a COVID denier, a climate denier, and now a genocide denier, simply because I don't recognize the false genocide they claim in Israel. You've got the full set, Norman. You've got the whole.
I think I'm pretty much on the same. I'm on the same page as you. I've been given death threats and all sorts of warning. I think I'm controlled opposition. Is that what they use? Something like that? That's what we get called.
Yeah, they call everyone controlled opposition. If you come out, this is the thing. If you come out on one thing, then which doesn't fit with what they consider to be the consensus, then you're controlled opposition. And the problem is that there are not. I mean, you singled out the ones you singled out. I don't really want to name names, but you've given examples of a set of people who can reasonably said to have opinions which maybe we would agree with almost all of them, but there are many who are considered to be part of the conservative movement, right, or the anti-globalist movement in particular. That's the difference. The anti-globalist movement, who definitely have very different opinions on certain subjects, and you've got this massive fracture, which it doesn't exist on the left. The left doesn't have that problem. They really do have a united theme on everything. They don't criticize each other. They just you won't get anybody on the left basically really challenging the whole woke agenda or the globalist agenda.